The graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. Thou shalt not covet the silver or the gold that is on them, nor take it to thee, lest thou be snared therein. For it is an abomination to Yahweh thy God. And thou shalt not bring an abomination into thy house, and become a devoted thing like it. Thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a devoted thing. Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 8. All the command which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which Yahweh swore an oath to your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which Yahweh thy God hath led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, that he might humble thee, to prove thee, to know what was in thy heart, whether thou wouldst keep his commands or not. And he humbled thee, and he caused thee hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread only, but by everything that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahweh doth man live. Thy raiment became not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell these 40 years. And thou shalt consider in thy heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so Yahweh thy God chasteneth thee. And thou shalt keep the commands of Yahweh thy God, to walk in his ways, and to fear him. For Yahweh thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and springs, flowing forth in valleys and hills. A land of wheat and barley, and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of olive trees and honey, a land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness, thou shalt not lack anything in it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou mayest dig copper. And thou shalt eat and be full, and thou shalt bless Yahweh thy God for the good land which he hath given thee. Beware, lest thou forget Yahweh thy God in not keeping his commands, and his ordinances, and his statutes, which I command thee this day, lest when thou hast eaten and art full, and hast built goodly houses, and dwell therein, and when thy herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast is multiplied, then thy heart be lifted up, and thou forget thy God, who brought thee forth out of the land of Mithraim, out of a house of slaves, who led thee through the great and terrifying wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions, and thirsty ground, where was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee, to do thee good at thy latter end. And lest thou say in thy heart, My power and the might of my hand hath gotten me this wealth. But thou shalt remember Yahweh thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he swore an oath to thy fathers, as at this day. And it shall be, if thou shalt forget Yahweh thy God, and walk after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I testify against you this day, that ye shall surely perish, as the nations that Yahweh maketh to perish before you, so shall ye perish, because ye would not hearken to the voice of Yahweh your God. Hear, O Yisrael, thou art to pass over the Jordan this day, to go in to dispossess nations greater and mightier than thyself, cities great and fortified up into the skies, a people great and tall, the sons of the Anakim, whom thou knowest, and of whom thou hast heard say, who can stand before the sons of Anak? Know therefore this day that Yahweh thy God is he who goeth over before thee as a devouring fire. He will destroy them, and he will bring them down before thee. So shalt thou drive them out, and make them to perish quickly, as Yahweh hath spoken to thee.